happening. Now, this is partly about what we do here on Kaizen Central. It's also a great deal to do with what we have been talking about for a very long time. So number one, the big reveal is that Zanut TV is now Manufacturing TV, and it will launch officially on Monday. Now, this has been a long time in the works. As I will explain, you've had quite a lot to do with it, so you take some responsibility. What I do want to stress, though, because I know some of you will know Matt Chilton at Zanut.com, this has been a very amicable parting of the ways from Zanut, from whom we licensed the name Zanut TV. Matt will be eternally grateful to him, the founder of Zanut.com. He gave us fantastic support when we launched, and we are going to continue to work together wherever possible as we can in the name and the support of manufacturing. So why are we going to do this? And there will be a new website. I'm not going to give you the URL now because you'll have your heads down. You'll be ferreting about in it. So I'll share it with you at the end. What we know is that manufacturing has problems. So we wanted to do something about this. As I'll get on to, we have a mission behind this change. We have a country and a government that don't really, how should I put it, get the respect. It's treated with near indifference by the government, and by the public, it's regarded as outdated, dirty, and dead end. It therefore faces a crisis of skills and training. We know all of that. We talk about it day in, day out, and nothing much seems to happen. In fact, sometimes it seems as if things are going in reverse. So what's this got to do with manufacturing TV? Well, as I say, Kaizen Central inspired us to think big. We were talking, good many weeks ago now, about the need to get the messaging out to a wider audience. And I think it was Ewan who said, Nick, this is a job for you. And I thought at the time, yeah, that's interesting. Maybe it is. And of course, that once the seed was planted, there was nothing to stop it growing. Video is the medium of now and of the future. And we discovered that with all the social media links we've been sharing on LinkedIn, there is an extraordinary appetite for it. If I tell you that between January the 1st and the end of March, with all those little minute clips we've been putting up, we've had over 70,000 views of our videos, which was frankly gobsmacking. And yeah, we're still reeling from that. And we realized that we actually do need our own platform and portal to put that on. And again, Kaizen Central, we discussed at another meeting about how businesses that have a strong sense of purpose are businesses that have a really good chance of lasting. They have a good firm base. They're great to work with, to work for. They have a really strong rationale. And a dear friend of mine, Tim Cumming, said to me, what you need, Nick, is a BHAG. And I said, what's a BHAG? And he said, it's a big, hairy, audacious goal. And I think there's somebody called Collins or Porras or something like that. They talk about the BHAG. The idea behind a BHAG is that you never get there, but it's a destination so massive that the journey is wondrous and all-consuming. And we are going to reveal our BHAG, and that's what this presentation is all about. So the how should I put it? The pathway to this was my own preconceived notions about why manufacturing has been so badly regarded by the country, by government, and so on. At first, class has something to do with it. I think we're a class-ridden society. I think people look down their noses at manufacturing, but I think that's possibly historic. I think we're through that now. I also thought, well, it's a lack of experience and interest among politicians. Yep, we know that. And then there's this sort of fetishization of the City of London, financial services and so on ever since the 80s. It's almost like, all that mattered, the only thing that made money in this country was financial services. That all stemmed, of course, from the deindustrialization trauma to so many communities in the 1980s. That was tragic for so many people, and the government put nothing in its place. And so very quietly, the big visible industry wound down, and invisibly, manufacturing picked up in industrial estates and business parks around the country, and nobody really noticed. So everybody thought manufacturing's done for. And they all blamed it on Margaret Thatcher, and quite honestly, she deserves a lot of that blame. And of course, in the meantime, the media moved on. The media is only interested in strikes. They're not interested in actually what industry is doing. They just care about strikes. And so as soon as the unions were, horrible word, tamed, but the more radical elements were brought to heel, the media just moved on. And so nobody was doing stories about industry, industrial correspondence per se, or so-called rather. Well, they were really just strike correspondents. So that was how I felt. And then I started to do some reading. I did an interview with Tim Minchell at the University of Cambridge Institute for Manufacturing a few weeks ago. And in the course of researching the interview, I noticed that they had actually had the author of this book speaking there. David Sainsbury is Lord Sainsbury. He was the science minister in Tony Blair's government. And this book just really opened my eyes. And this is a book I haven't read, but it makes many of the same core points as Sainsbury, and I'll describe those in a second. But Mariana Matsukato, absolutely inspiring woman, and may I recommend that you look her up, because this YouTube video, this TED talk she gave in I think it was August 2019 in Edinburgh, I'll share the link with you at some stage. Absolutely wonderful, a riveting discussion. And as we all know, a little bit of learning can be quite a dangerous thing, certainly in the hands of somebody like me, because we then go on to build a great stories out of these little acorns of learning we get. And I learned some extraordinary things. Now, what both Matsukato and Sainsbury homed in on was neoclassical economics. Now, I was a complete idiot at school and at college. I was actually taking an accountancy course, which was supposed to help me become a chartered accountant. And the fact of the matter is, it all foundered on my inability to get to grips with economics. So I completely failed. Neoclassical economics is the defining economic theory that underpins the UK economy and UK politics. And that, to me, the thought that there's one economic theory that has so much power completely startled me. It started with Adam Smith, it started with David Ricardo, and it developed over the years. It has one overwhelming and defining feature, which is that value is regarded as the price somebody is prepared to pay for a service or a good or whatever. Now, if I tell you that a £20 million paycheck for a Goldman Sachs banker is regarded as, that banker is regarded as incredibly productive, compared with perhaps somebody earning 100K, but who develops an incredibly innovative way of manufacturing a product. I mean, or you could take Steve Lindsay, for instance, the guy at Lontra who developed the blade compressor, perhaps one of the most radical innovations and inventions of recent years, which has, I don't know, but I don't think it has yet seen its full potential, but it could be game-changing in the world of manufacturing. Is Steve Lindsay regarded by the government as any more important than somebody who gets paid £20 million? Goldman Sachs, Lloyd Blankfein, said in 2009 that Goldman Sachs was the most productive company in the world, and all they do is move money around and skim money off at the top, and that is regarded as economic activity. So is babysitting. Mariana Matsukato has a lovely line in that video. She says, don't marry a babysitter because you'll damage GDP, because the moment you stop paying somebody for something, you're actually reducing the amount of GDP, which of course is complete and utter nonsense. And yet this is how government is run. It's the same in America. There was a chairman of the Council of Economic Affairs at the White House under Obama, said manufacturing is completely overrated. And I forget the actual quote she used. She called it, manufacturing is based on sentiment, she said. And effectively what they were saying is that manufacturing is the same as any other business. In other words, a car rental company is as important as the company that makes the car. And so GDP has been made up of these great volumes of economic activity coming out of the City of London, which was never even monitored and measured until the 1980s. Before then, financial services were not part of GDP. Now they have taken it over, but they don't create any real value. And that has dislocated the economy to the extent that we see it, house prices, asset prices have gone through the roof, but there's no real value anywhere. And it's becoming a real drag on the economy and a drag on the productive part of the economy, which of course is manufacturing. I should point out that the current business secretary, Kwasi Kwarteng, was author of a book in, I think it was in 2009, together with Dominic Raab, Liz Truss, and Priti Patel, all of them in the cabinet, called Britannia Unchained. And what they wanted, they included nothing about manufacturing. They wanted a race to the bottom, low taxes. They wanted us all to become tiger economies. But there was it was literally all about financial services. And that is one of the reasons why we do not have an industrial strategy. So it's not political ignorance, as I was saying earlier, we have to overcome. It's political and economic ideology, which brings me to our mission. Now, this is quite simple. We pledge to use our platform to amplify the voices of those who demand a consistent, constructive, and supportive approach from government towards manufacturing. So that's what we will do. It's what we have been doing. You know, we've been doing that. We have stories in support of manufacturing, critical of government policy or lack of it on industrial strategy, and so on. And the website, when you see it, is going to grow. From where it is now, we're going to grow it in time because we want it to become a portal. We want it to become a video destination. And that means we're going to give a platform for anybody who has video material that can excite and enthuse young people about the benefits of a career in manufacturing. Now, that means manufacturers will be able to put their own videos on the website. Suppliers of products will be able to. Obviously, there'll be sort of rental fees, if you like. But we genuinely feel that if we can make our website a true destination for anybody who wants to know about manufacturing through the medium of video, then we are going to strain every sinew to make that possible. But there's more. A lot of the things we've talked about on Kaizen Central about the inability of manufacturing to be heard is down to the splintering of voices, because there are so many organizations all crying out individually for attention. So we propose the creation of a manufacturing alliance. This alliance is basically an umbrella under which everybody, and I'm talking everybody from Make UK all the way through to trade associations, can come together to deal with very, very, very large issues. Now, I'm not saying that these individual organizations should stop doing what they're doing. They have a purpose, they have a mission to fulfill, but there are some issues that are just too big, and they're so big that a manufacturing alliance is the only way that we can make enough noise together. I'm thinking of education, skills, training. Let's just deal with it in that manner. Just to one issue, maybe apprenticeships. I don't know, but something nobody can disagree on the line to take. Now, I think it's really important that we don't create another trade body. I'm thinking that maybe it operates rather like a sort of the G7, a sort of revolving presidency or whatever. It can't be just another body, because otherwise, it'll just be somebody else. It needs to be an alliance. And I've got ideas around this, and I'm going to start sharing those, but I really want your input into this, and any shortcuts to helping us achieve that would be really, really helpful. Which brings us to the big, hairy, audacious goal. Now, this is the goal that we at Manufacturing TV will never achieve, but by golly, by working with others, we can certainly make an impression. And this is what it is. And that is our goal. We want to rebalance the national economy back towards manufacturing. And that is what I've been leading up to. And if anybody now wants to go and have a look, but please stay listening to the conversation, that is our website. It is short, to the point, and it tells the story in and of itself. And that's that. That is my presentation, ladies and gentlemen. I hope it's been worth you hanging on.
Bravo, Nick. Bravo. Bravo.
Good for you, Nick.
Well, thank you.
Fantastic.
I mean, it's been a long time coming, but I'd love to hear your thoughts. And please use, because I wonder if I can move that. Oh, I
want to come and work for you now, Nick.
Please use the hand raising thing. I don't know how to do it myself. Yeah, you know how to do it. But please, anybody got any thoughts on that? Any comments that they'd like to discuss? Oh, Johnny, hello. Good evening to you. I really wanted you on this, Johnny, because I wanted you to know about it. Johnny Williams, for those who don't know, is my old mucker from the manufacturer days, and great pal, and obviously manufacturing TV is something that we hope has got a lot of potential. So who'd like to make some comments or ask me some questions? Ewan, you raised your hand.
Yeah, hi Nick, hi everyone. Fantastic, brilliant. Delighted that you've picked up or picked the baton or are leading the charge. Fantastic. And I guess, a couple of thoughts stroke questions. I mean, you've just mentioned Johnny Williamson, who's on, and the manufacturer who obviously have an online and an offline presence, and talked about manufacturing alliances. So just, I guess, understanding in a bit more detail about how do you sort of herd what historically have been a number of cats, because I think what you're aiming to try and do is wonderful. But as we know, it's, and you've already managed to get some fantastic support by some of the people who joined us over the last few months, and I'm thinking about, Jürgen Meyer and Vince Cable. But in trying to sort of actually make this happen and pull it together, what are your thoughts about bringing in, other sort of sponsors like the manufacturer to help support and make it happen?
I was thinking that the way to do it is really just to approach people like Stephen Phipson and Jürgen, and some of the maybe to, I think, get one or two big sponsors behind it and just say, look, everybody was sideswiped by the industrial strategy being canned. And I think that if people could say, look, there are just maybe just one issue, to start with one issue, as I say, that's incontrovertible, and just find a way of making this happen. It will take buy-in. I mean, if Make UK turn around and say, not for us, well, that'll be a terrible shame. I guess what we've just got to be careful, what we've got to try and do is make it impossible for them to say no. But as I say, a BHAG is something that, if it falls at the first hurdle, then it's not much of a BHAG. We just got to keep fighting, and that's why the wanting this platform is to make a lot of noise. I mean, that's really what we want to do, is to make a great deal of noise, and we felt that we couldn't make that level of noise with as part of Matt's website, which is why we wanted to do this. And again, many thanks to Matt Chilton, wonderful bloke, and we're going to be working with Sanut in the future. But this is why we're doing this, to try and create a lot of noise, and the more noise we can make, the better. Now then, Ram, sorry, your hand was up next. How are you?
Hello, everybody. I'm fine, thank you. Looking forward to the start of IPL tomorrow, but we'll leave it for later. Talking of BHAGs, this is the book I was talking about, which is Built to Last. Jim Collins and Jerry Porras. Chapter 5 specifically talks about BHAGs.
Oh, it is Collins and Porras. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, there you go. That's the book.
Oh.
Anybody wants to take a quick picture, or if you already read it, go for it. I'll put the link on the thing anyway. I think it's there. So the thing is, it is a Nick's run away. No, he's back.
Oh, let me get my notebook.
It is a fantastic initiative, Nick, and kudos to you for picking up the baton. It takes the proverbials of titanium to be able to, pick something up like this and run with it. The effectiveness of anything, any initiative, is more about the execution, where we talk about deeds, not words. Now, more often than not, when I've been involved in these fora, like the Chambers of Commerce or MAKE or anything, grand statements are being made, but very little action on the ground. For us, I think the way we differentiate ourselves as a collective, as Manufacturing TV with this BHAG, is execution on the ground, getting things done. That will be where the key will be, and we need to focus on how do we get things done, moving away from the grand statements and get down to business, get things done on the ground. That's what I'm keen on doing. So my question to you is, what do you want us to do?
You're on mute, Nick.
Sorry. It's what do I want you to do? It's really what we all decide to do. I mean, what I'm doing is providing the platform, the voice, the channel, and putting out the invitation. Now, pardon me, I think it will be important to be reasonably strategic about this, and I think that it's the KC grouping has become so powerful for me. It's become a real source of energy, and that will deliver power. That we'll just have to work on this. But as time goes on, it's not something I can define right now, for the simple reason that it's taken me quite a lot of sweat capital to get to this point of building the website and all that. Hang on a second, I'm gonna cough. But I think the goal ultimately will be to start channeling some of this energy, and we could maybe put together some thoughts offline as we go ahead. It's not something I can give a definitive answer to now. I think we're going to have to work it out. But the point is that with a TV/video channel devoted to manufacturing that has significant support and has increasing support, and as I say, the amount of those 70,000 plus, it's probably over 75 now. I just can't keep track of the bloody thing. It's quite extraordinary, and it means that people are watching and people are taking note. And soon, if you make enough noise, people can't ignore you. So I think we probably just have to get the brand and the service bedded in, and then start making some really increasing initiatives. So Ram, I can't give you an exact answer right now, my friend, but stay tuned. John, good evening.
Good evening, everyone. I've been absent for a few weeks, but it's nice to be back on such an auspicious occasion here in the BHAG announce. So good for you, Nick. And when we spoke offline,
Johnny, put your mic on mute.
When I spoke to you, Nick, a few weeks ago, I think this is what I was trying to find out from you. What was your goal? So it's great to have the great reveal. So a couple of things. One, it was about branding. Really interested. I think the branding is absolutely key. And I must admit, when you said you want to create a manufacturers alliance, of course, my ears pricked up, being from the Manufacturers Alliance. So there's one of the first barriers. There's already a manufacturing alliance with a brand, and we've got the Manufacturers Alliance. So what is the brand going to be? And then the other is an offer. I'm no expert on this in any way, shape or form, but I have got experience of trying to do relatively large scale change and education. Within Glaxo, we tried to take our whole workforce globally, 100,000 people, through a change in attitudes. And we learned a lot along the way, a lot of it through failure, but some of it through success. So I'd love to share some of that learning with you in terms of, things like tipping point approaches to change, emergent change, creating the conditions for what you're trying to achieve to come to fruition. Because the one thing I can guarantee is it's not done through a Gantt chart. It's actually a much bigger wholesale change you're trying to bring about here. And so I'd love to be on the journey with you and offer what I can.
Fantastic. Thank you very much indeed, John. That's terrific. Richard Jones.
Hi, I'm well done to you. Well done. My point is 70,000 is great, and it's a start, but there's 60 million or whatever that watch mainstream TV. So what is the plan to get on to BBC, get on to ITV, get on to Channel 4, get on to Sky, so you can reach a much wider audience. And also, is it worth trying to get onto opinion forming programs that the politicians listen to, like the 10 past 8 slots on Radio 4 on the BBC? I just think that it's a much bigger audience out there that we need to try and attract, as opposed to the 70,000 who are effectively already friends.
I totally get it, Richard. It's I think that the establishment of the channel offers a greater opportunity. The more visible we can make it, and the more active and proactive we can make it, the more it will attract attention, and perhaps get, as you say, representation. You know, maybe, I mean, now and again, I used to get invited onto bits and pieces, but we never really, when I was at the manufacturer. I can't remember, Johnny, if any of us ever ended up on the BBC or anything. I don't think so. I mean, the trick is to make so much noise that people outside the sector say, oh, okay, maybe we ought to hear from them. And that's the only way we can do it. You're quite right, Richard. I must say that my friend Tim, who actually encouraged me to come up with a BHAG and a manifesto, I've put all this in a big document, which I'm going to put up on LinkedIn. He actually wanted to make a program, you know, get a program commissioned, maybe by Channel 5 or somebody like that, or Channel 4. And I think that is also something we can look at. And again, this gives us the platform to get the credibility, to get the fact that we are right in the middle of the manufacturing sector, for a commissioner to say, well, okay, these guys know what they're talking about, and come up with the right pitch. I think we've got quite a good story to tell. So that is also something that has been, Tim and I have been talking about it for years. So this will accelerate that thinking. Lee, good evening.
Can you hear me, guys?
Yes.
Thank you. Nick, you've just lifted me so much. It has been unbelievable. They're incredibly inspiring. And what a fantastic group of people we've got here. And I think we've all taken inspiration from each other over the last couple of months. And my only regret is that I didn't join you at the beginning back in November, as opposed to January. But my point is, I agree with you. We've all made some valid points here. The only person I actually do disagree with is Richard. And the reason give me a moment, Richard. If we come back to Paul's previous presentation last week, Paul Stead, and if we look at this from both a design and see, this is the engineer in me coming out now. If we look at this from a design and manufacturing problem, we need to start at the beginning. And the beginning is our youth, our next generation. The BBC are not, they're not interested. Sorry, I'm getting really passionate now, and I just had to bite my tongue there. We need to educate the young and make the word engineer credible once again. Now, Angela's got a fantastic thing going on, trying to organise engineering festivals and promote youth. I myself, sorry, I'll rephrase that. MCNC, the company I work for, we encourage schools and young people to come in, even if it's only for a quick 20-minute walk around and show them some fantastic widgets. Now, the reason I disagree with Richard is the BBC are not interested in this, and the politicians are of an age where they, quite frankly, I'm not talking for all of them, but most of them are in it for their own personal gain and just go with the status quo. So start from scratch. Now, we know there's manufacturing alliances. We've got Make UK, we've got the ATI, we've got ADS, we've got NDI, we've got WEAF, we've got the Northwest Manufacturing Alliance. There's so many. And the problem is everything is diluted. And there are other TV video organizations out there. You have MTD, CNC. Now, you've got a gap here in the market. They concentrate on trying to make engineering sexy, but it's all about advertising products. So we make this widget using this machine. We make the material by using this machine, and it saved us X. And they're on board with digitalization and things like that. But what we need is a political platform in terms of making a voice for all these alliances to come together. And forget the BBC. The 16, 17-year-olds, do you think they really do watch the BBC when all they talk about is doom and gloom, and it's such a left-wing biased organization? British Broadcasting Corporation, it's a bloody company, and when they're paying dickheads 2 million plus a year, they don't get my vote. So we need people on the ground from the beginning, and as Paul said, go all the way back to the seed and the root. And we need to start educating teachers and young people, and then approaching, and believe me, CEOs of all of my customers, and we have some blue chip ones. I won't go into them, but they will be on board with this. I could get you people from primes to speak on your platform and voice their concerns. And we need a platform that, forget the pandering to government because I want £1 million grant and pay my CEO of this trade organization 100K a year. It's too diluted. We need a central organization, and all that money needs to be funding into education, and bringing back the education system is key. We have people like myself that, how can I put, well, I'm not an academic. I'm a practical, sensible person. And we need the bricklayers, we need woodworkers, we need turners, we need millers, we need everything. We need scientists, we need mathematicians. And by gelling everything together at the education point, we all had paths to go on. And now young people haven't got a clue. I mean, you've either got to be a brilliant academic and be or a whiz kid on the computer to be in the digital age. But we still need that manufacturing organization. We need the people that clock in and do that the clever people have made. But there are sexy paths that by starting here, you can get from A to Z by entering engineering, by developing yourself and personal development, continuous improvement, embracing technology, being open-minded. And we need organizations like you. I've got David on here, and I've engaged with David Savage to help with some training in our organization because we've recognized certain things. And I'm going to say it publicly, my passion is manufacturing, and I will stand on a soapbox and I'll talk for ages, so I'm going to shut up very quickly. But my point is, we need to start at the seed, like Paul said, and look at it from a long-term strategic approach and say, quite frankly, tell the politicians that, yeah, you're a politician, we are manufacturers. Bloody listen.
Okay,
Thank
Lee.
you.
Well, listen, I wish I could bottle you. That was amazing. That was amazing.
I meant it. I'm that passionate that you've just ignited a spark and created a value in myself. And let's have a chat.
Okay, absolutely. No, absolutely. Yeah, Paul, good evening.
Unmute myself, am I on? Yes, well done, Nick, brilliant. I mean, I've seen it coming for a while, so I'm not at all surprised. No, fantastic. I guess the thing you've got here, and I'm not religious, but just think back a couple of thousand years, a guy went out there with some disciples, And he motivated those disciples around a core idea or a series of core ideas. And what I'm just looking at here, and there's a lot of passionate people here with a lot to give, I'm just wondering if there was a way that everyone on this call could kind of, even if it's a couple of bullet points they'd like to see from this, to help you kind of organize a bunch of, and I'll call us disciples, about what we can do for you. It's not what, was it like John F. Kennedy said, it's not what you can do for your country, it's what the country can, the country can do for you, it's what you can do for your country. Sorry, wrong way around. But I'm just thinking here, you know, you've got some very passionate people. I love manufacturing. I love designing for manufacture. So mine isn't, I'm not an engineer, but, you know, I can really respect what engineers do. And I hope they respect what designers do. And I hope we all respect what educators do. So if there's a way that we can crystallize the power of the individuals on this call, for each of them maybe just to do, maybe it's just 5 things that you should focus on. And if you can bring that together in some sort of forum, because the big, hairy, audacious goal is so big, I would argue you can't get hold of it. But we all know training and education is one of the lumps that we should probably be addressing. I'd like to see innovation on there and marketing, and other people have probably got other things they want on there. I think the notion of a voice to politicians is a good one as well. So I think if the disciples that you've gathered here, and I'll give you 5 key things I think, and if everybody gives you a series of feedback and you build a very simple strategy and maybe share that back with us in the future, or in groups, smaller groups, but it is a brilliant big idea, and I urge you to galvanize the passion of this group in a way so we are your disciples, because it's a lot more powerful as people speaking from the same with one voice. One thing, I see Manufacturing TV and I see your beautiful shiny head missing off the ing at the back every time you move, but I'd love to see the website detail up there, because I was writing quickly, and I think you've got to get your website on everything as a point of engagement, but don't abbreviate it to MTV. Manufacturing TV is perfect, but just get the website up there so people can click on it straight away as a piece of branding. So that's me. Does anybody else have anything to say on that? Is that the right thing to do? I mean, yeah.
Yes.
I turn to you, Nick. Get us as disciples to help you, but ask what we need, and then go back to us and ask to activate with you with clarity.
I think that's great. That's great, Paul. Thank you. And yeah, that MTV, by the way, I should have mentioned. I was a bit nervous having cocked up the opening of the meeting. I forgot to mention that MTV thing it's got a very limited lifespan, because when I came back from America in 2002, I started a little business called NetIntel, which was a internet intelligence, NetIntel. I had this huge company of lawyers in London breathing down my neck saying that Intel was suing me for all the money I never had. And so the idea of having a logo that said MTV, I shall not be using that, I promise you. It will be Manufacturing TV with the URL ukmfg.tv, and maybe even shorten it to mfg.tv at some stage. But there we are. That is very much the, as I say, the BHG, and I appreciate what you said, Paul. Mr. Steve Murphy.
I was just thinking of some of the things that actually get people notice, and I know they're not everybody's cup of tea, but the likes of Greenpeace often take unreasonable action, and not that unreasonable action is the way to actually negotiate, but it is unreasonable action that actually gets people to the negotiating table. So I would like to vote for being a member of the unreasonable action wing, so that if there are any more people like me around there who don't believe that being reasonable is always the best attitude and the way to get things started, I would like to plan scheming ways of being unreasonable. And it's a bit like, if you think of the example, the thing about the orangutan and the palm oil and everything, you know, orangutan in my bedroom, if you remember that. It might have upset a lot of people, but it got stuff onto the agenda. It raised the awareness, and it gave the opportunity for other people to then go in and do the detailed negotiation. So that was my point. I think we do need to consider we need to consider the need for sometimes, without being objectionable, being unreasonable, to get things to the table and to get people going. What do we have to do to get this thorn out of our side, almost?
Yeah, that's really interesting. I must admit, I did have visions of you and me abseiling down the Bays building in Victoria Street in London, but I somehow think that that would attract more laughter than it would get people to a negotiating table. But you're absolutely right. It is the people who put their foot down and aren't diplomatic. People say diplomatic skills is what you need. You actually don't. You need, sometimes, as you say, to be unreasonable. And I have to say that that's why, I mean, it's not there now, but that's what we're trying to build, is something that will make unreasonable sounds that have to be heard. And that is very much my intention. It won't happen yet. But for instance, one of the things we're going to be launching, and COVID has obviously completely screwed this for now, but we want to launch a lecture series. And, so rather like a TED talk, but slightly different configuration. But that would be a place where we could get somebody who's got a good name and an authoritative name, and somebody who can be unreasonable and make some unreasonable demands. That gets noticed, and that is what we're trying to do, as I say, just to find avenues and channels that can amplify the voice of manufacturing, not dilute it. Lee made that point about dilution. I was talking about it earlier. It's absolutely critical. I think in other countries like Germany, whatever, they have no problem with sort of speaking with one voice. Here we speak with thousands of voices. And I remember Vince Cable, he was saying that there were certain industry groups he took notice of when he was business secretary. Others he didn't listen to because he couldn't hear them. And that's terrible. Is it just the he who speaks loudest gets heard? Well, maybe that should be our principle too. Maybe that should be our principle too. Make a lot of noise.
You won't attract youth by being reasonable and sensible. They don't follow reasonable, sensible people, do they? Hey ho.
I never did.
No.
No, you're right. You have to challenge, but you don't have to challenge unreasonably. So you question, and I've only become successful when, as somebody mentioned, a pair of titanium something or others earlier, I grew a pair and challenged people. So when we are members of 3 trade organizations who host events that not only have we paid a yearly membership subscription, but you also have to pay, it can be anything from 20 quid to several hundreds of pounds to attend an event, meet the buyer events, things like this. You attend these events, but the only reason these events are held is because the big primes have to pander to government and they have to go through a motion. And I was with a certain buyer at a certain event, and he made it categorically clear that he had no intention of being there. But my saving grace was I had the balls to stand up and say, well, I won't waste any of my more time then. I'm off. Thank you for making that clear. And my opening question was, tell me about your problems. Now, I haven't got any problems. Then why are you here? Because I was told to come. So we need a voice and somebody with a big pair of titanium cojones that can do and say it how it bloody is, Nick, and as Steve said, we need the youth in, and they're all on TikTok, Instagram. My daughter is 16 years old, quite attractive, and she gets messages regularly now because she does these TikTok dances and things to endorse products. And for every 100 tags or views she gets, they send her 10 quid. She's 16 years old, and last month she earned £1,800.
Bloody hell. I'll tell you what, I think what we're going to do is do manufacturing news. I'm going to do TikTok and become an influencer. And that's the way to do it. Listen, I tell you who is an influencer. He's on this call now, Adrian Wayne. I just want to share this.
Hello.
Yeah, hello, Adrian. I'm
Hello,
not sure.
Nick. Are you going to embarrass me now?
Yes, I am. I think I'm sharing the wrong screen. I'm sharing the wrong screen. I want to share this screen. Which one is it that I want to share? Oh, no, it is that one. Yeah. Okay, can you all see the website? Can you see the new website on the screen I'm sharing?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good. Okay, I just want to say that Adrian very kindly agreed to let us use his photography to illustrate the website, and I've created a photo gallery inside the website. I just want to make sure that when you go in and have a look, that you have a chance to see some of his amazing photography, because I just think he brings manufacturing alive in a way that I've never seen anybody else do. And these pictures are the backgrounds of all our pages on the new website. And they're really terrific. So Adrian, many thanks for that. And I hope that by offering something of a showcase for you as well, that we're able to support you in return, because I think that you have a quite remarkable eye for lighting and photographies. So many thanks indeed. And we shall be using the Union flag because we're developing a Best of British series of programs. We're doing the first one right now, actually. I interviewed Will Butler Adams at Brompton Bicycles. So we're doing a Best of British series, again, to try and, these are either very big brands that people do know, or very big name companies that make a huge difference that people may not know about, but are absolutely astonishing. I don't know if you know TR Fastenings, but they're an extraordinary company based in Sussex that are global and have stayed British, and that's what's brilliant about them. So that's one of the things we'll be doing. But Adrian, thank you very much indeed, mate, for that. And I'll be talking to you a little bit more about how we've used them and all that. I'd obviously like you to go and have a look and make certain that all meets with your approval. 5 minutes. I wonder, 5 minutes towards the end, and Alison is joining us from. There she is. She's joining us from Atlanta, Georgia. Good evening, Alison.
Hey, how are you?
Very good, thank you.
Good.
Were you on earlier, or have you just joined us?
I just joined. I could not get somebody off the phone. I just joined us.
Well, it's great to see you, and I just want to say that Alison's virtual intern initiative has been picked up by Angela, Bob, and Adam, and really got great ideas around that, or they have great ideas around that. And Ian Crossley, who was our speaker last week, who's on the call now, I know that he's also volunteered to get involved, which is absolutely fantastic. So thank you all. Anybody got any final thoughts on it? I love Paul's idea of communicating some of this. And the new website, actually, when I've worked out how to make it work, will offer the opportunity to pool ideas. So I'll keep you posted on that. It doesn't have to be immediately, but by Monday, fingers crossed, I'll have it all working, and it'll be an opportunity for everybody to actually share ideas and information. A lot in a lot more conveniently, a lot more easily than the current website does. But anybody got any thoughts? Oh, John, you raised your hand. I beg your pardon.
Yeah, thanks, Nick. Just a question, really. Do you have target stakeholders that you want to get to? Just working on the 6 degrees of separation, some of us here might be able to help you connect. Is there anybody you're going after at the moment?
In terms of program material or in terms of politicking?
Both, either.
Okay.
Just in terms of your mission.
Oddly enough, actually, that's a really, I hadn't quite thought of using the sort of KC as a hive mind, but that's actually what we're becoming, as a bit of a hive mind. And I love that idea. Thank you for planting the thought in my head. I mean, certainly in terms of connections. I mean, you know, I know a great many people, and but there's always going to be some that I could know better, or ones I don't know. And I think that it'd be great to get some of these people along and join in these conversations. But I think at the moment it's all a bit inchoate. Paul's idea of trying to sort of coalesce some thinking, I think that's probably the first step. So let me get the platform right. Invite you to get involved through that, and then let's take it from there. 2 minutes to 7. Final thoughts. Anybody got any final thoughts? Who hasn't spoken? Nope. Okay. Well, in that case, I'm going to call the meeting to a close. Thank you all for being here. It was a bit of a BHAG just getting through all of that. I have to say, it was all a little strenuous and stressful, as you could tell by the way I completely screwed up the opening of the meeting. But I hope you'll forgive me. I shall edit that out of the recorded one that will go down in posterity as the KC big reveal. But thank you very much indeed. Please, if you want to share any of this with anybody, well, that's fine. But it is actually not going out officially until Monday. That's when I should be changing various branding on LinkedIn and Twitter and all that, and making official announcements. But if you know Matt, you know he's a great guy, Matt Chilton at Zanut. He's been absolutely super, and love him to death. And he's been really great about all of this. So my final word, I suppose, is thanks to Matt Chilton. Really appreciate everything he's done for us. So good night, everybody.
Good night.
I have a larger class than normal will be waiting for me. Ram, I'll see you at the IPL tomorrow. We'll no doubt be WhatsApping frantically over the course between now and May the 30th.